Good morning, everybody. I hope you're doing well. It is Saturday, the 30th of March, 2024, which means it's the day after Good Friday and the day before Easter Sunday. We're at the very end of March, and I've not even started the book of the month at church. So the plan is to read it today. The book is In Search of Timothy by Tony Cook, Discovering and Developing Greatness in Church Staff and Volunteers. Love that. It is 242 pages. I can do this. Basically, I have to read it today because tomorrow is Easter Sunday, so I'll be going to church, going to my nan's after, the whole family. There won't be time to read. So yeah, we're going to try and read that book. As you guys can see, I'm in my gym gear. I've just tried to download Audible because the book's on Audible, not Spotify. Spotify, what are you doing? I tried to download it. It's like, oh, you need the new iOS. I've had to delete videos off my phone to download the new iOS. My brother's going to the gym as well and he's basically ready. I think I've still got 10 minutes left of the download. So maybe I won't be reading it and listening to it in the gym and I'll just have to start when I come back. But anyway, it's fine. We're going to the gym, we're working out. We paid for this gym membership, so we absolutely are going. Phone, headphones, purse. Gonna take my Stanley. Been over an hour, finished my workout, went to Sainsbury's, back home. I'm like halfway through chapter 2, so do you know what? Haven't gotten that far, but I've made a start. Also, I did an ab workout in the gym and it was on the Nike app, so couldn't listen to the book while doing the core workout thing. Gonna have a protein shake, get in the shower, and then when I'm dressed, I'll come back to you and we'll continue reading. I think I'm actually gonna listen to the audiobook while I'm in the shower, getting dressed. 2 birds, 1 stone, habit stacking. Okay. So, I have continued listening to the audiobook. I'm now on chapter 5. I'm now going to start reading the book. I've got my oats, peanut butter, blueberries. Got my protein shake I made. I've also got hot chocolate and decaf coffee. And I still have my water in my Stanley. Miss Stanley. So we're going to be very hydrated by the end of today. So I'm going to start reading the physical book now. And let me just tell you right now, loving the book. I've already written down so many notes as I've been listening. I like how it's laid out as well. Like, how many chapters are there? There are 35 chapters, which seems a lot. But the chapters are quite short. So, like, this is chapter 5 that I'm going to be starting. And that's it. That's chapter 6. So, yeah. So, yeah, we're going to get reading. By the way, it's like 1 p.m. So, we've still got a good while till the day ends. So, yeah. Let's get into this. Just woke up from a nap. Listen, that's the disadvantage of reading in your bed. I'm so thirsty as well. I still have over a half of the book to read as well. What am I like? So I'm gonna go sit downstairs in a chair. I mean, I could fall asleep anywhere, but at least if I'm downstairs sat in a chair, I think it will just wake me up a bit. Guys, I'm on a walk. I hope you can hear me because of the wind. I'm really enjoying the audiobook because Tony Cook, the guy who wrote the book, is actually saying it. So it's not like a robot, you know, sometimes you listen to an audiobook and it sounds like Siri's answering, reading it. It's actually him. So yeah, I'm really enjoying the audio version of the book. So I've gone for a long walk. I think I've got like 4 hours left, which is still quite a chunk. But we're getting there. Also, I feel like breaking up from audio to physically reading it, it's just better. So we're going to continue with the walk, continue with listening. I'm really enjoying this book though. And at the end of every chapter, there's questions. Yeah, it just helps you think, like, do I even know the answer? Because he's basically just said it in the book. So if you don't know the answer, go back and reread. Loving it. Right, guys, I'm back at home. Got a can of Coke. I'm going to continue reading In Search of Timothy. What chapter am I on now? That's the only thing with listening to it and reading at the same time. Okay, so I'm on chapter 13. I've still got loads to go. So I'm going to listen to some instrumental music, that's the word. So I can't hear anything and just read. And hopefully I'll come back and I'll basically finish the book. But we'll see. Time update. What's the time? I don't know. 5:15. So let's do this. almost 7, so it's been about 2 hours, and I'm on chapter 23. We're making progress, guys. I'm on page 149, so I think I've got just under 100 pages left, and the chapter title is Great Supportive Ministers Are Internally Motivated. Loving it. Sitting downstairs has really helped, because if I was in my bed I probably would have fell asleep again. Also the can of Coke helps as well, and I'm listening to music that is helping. It's like a Christian lo-fi playlist on YouTube. It's like 4 hours long. But yeah, it's helping me stay focused. Even though there's like noise, the TV's on, my brother's in the kitchen, my mum's upstairs, I can't hear them. I can just hear the music, and I'm reading, and this book is great. Guys, I finished it. Woo! I think it's about 9ish. The time is 11 minutes past 9. Love that for me. So it's taken me about 12 hours. But you know, I've been productive. Went to the gym. Still listened to the audiobook. Had a nap, which is good for you. Had some food. Read the book. I really enjoyed this book. Very easy to read. So as I said earlier in this video, it's Easter Sunday tomorrow, which means I've got church and I'm going to my nan's. However, there are 2 other books. There's one I'm listening to. I've got 2 hours left. And then the other book, I've already read it before. It's called Paid in Full. I'm going to try and finish it tomorrow on the train to and from church. So in a couple of days, so on Monday when it's the 1st of April, I'll come back to you guys and talk about all the books I've read in March. So see you in 2 days. Guys, it's actually been a week, so do you know what? Better late than never. So I thought I would talk about all the books I've read in March. Starting off with the book I spent the whole day reading, In Search of Timothy by Tony Cook. I found this book very, it gave direction basically, which I need always. It really helped me think about how can I help the pastor? How can I help the church? How can I not be so and instead we as a team working together. So basically in the Bible there's Paul was Saul, then he changed his name to Paul. He wrote basically most of the New Testament, and his like son in faith is Timothy, a young boy, bless him. And he just really supported Paul, supported Paul's ministry. Great guy. This book's all about how we can all be more like Timothy. Just, you know, willing to serve, willing to help other people. So loved that. I really enjoyed that in this book as well, that they had Amplified and the Messenger version. When you read like the New Living Translation, the Amplified version, it's just very easy, very clear to read. So I liked that this book had those kind of versions in there. As I said before, I really did like that it was more like how we should be more we focused rather than me, how we should be more team focused rather than me. Because I think nowadays everyone's all about self. Like, I need to live my best life, I come first, and that's just not the Christian way. So really enjoyed that. It also made me think, like, if my manager, like at church or at work, hired me, what would I want the person to do? Like, what would I want them to be doing in their job? And am I doing it? Because if I'm not, then we need to step up, you know? And then finally, I can't remember where it... Oh yeah, because when I listened to this book, that was it. When I listened to this book, it was audio, wasn't it? Because I was thinking, this is not looking familiar. But basically at the beginning of this book, it was really good. They start with like, he starts with like, I'm going to explain 2 scenarios with you. And I just want you to hear the scenarios. And then he asks questions at the end. And he talks about one leader who... someone betrayed him and tried to take half the church. This is like a church leader. Tried to take half the church with him. And then he talks about another leader who he just wants to start doing his own thing. And it's like, right. And then as you're listening to it, you start like he asks you questions like, oh, what do you think of the leader? Do you think the leader could have improved? Etc. And then at the end, the jaw was dropped. Let me tell you that right now. At the end, he said, what would you do if I told you that the 2 leaders I gave you 2 examples for? So the leader where someone betrayed them and took half the church, and the leader where the other leader, you know, the person who was working with him, they just wanted to do their own thing. And he was like, what would you do if I told you that both the leaders, who were the good people, for God. And I was like, what is going on in the House of Commons? Then he said in the first example, it's like God in heaven, and then Satan, the enemy, the devil, he was like, I'm taking off this lot, I want to be God. I thought, oh my gosh, I didn't even think that. Then the other leader, Adam and Eve, when they should have followed God, and they were like, nah, I'm going to do my own thing. The jaw was dropped. Seriously, it was such a good example. I thought, wow, like I did not see that coming. So yeah, really enjoyed this book. I'm going to give this a 4 out of 5 because I really liked it. I would definitely read it again, would recommend. It was a great like character building book. The second book I read, this cute little book. This book is by the same author, I've just realised. Tony Cook. And this book is called Because the Lord is My Shepherd, The 12 Blessings of an Empowered Life. Look how cute it is. And it's only 105 pages. As you guys can see, I did say it in my February books, but I did, is it tab? Is that it? I don't know. But I've like folded, oh, you can't really see. There we go. I've like folded some of the pages, folded it in half. Just testing it out. Not sure I'm obsessed with that idea. I do think I should just start drawing in them or highlighting them, but then, I don't know, it might ruin the book. I don't know. Before, like the last 2 years, whenever I've done book videos, I usually just take pictures of the page, but I never really look back at them. So yeah, any ideas, please let me know. Anyway, this book, I would say it gave me a lot of understanding on, first of all, a shepherd. Like, I feel like I want to go to a farm now and just observe. Observe the shepherd, observe the sheep, the animals, etc. Because this book helped me get understanding of how Jesus is meant to be in our lives, like our shepherd. Because the sheep just follow the shepherd. So cute, bless them. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. I do like that each chapter is a blessing. Where's the content? So like it will say blessing 1, provision, blessing 2, rest, blessing 6, security, blessing 10, abundance. And I just found that very interesting. This was such a quick, easy read. I literally read it in 2 days on the way to and from work. Love that for me. And then I'd just say what I really liked about this book is it just reminded me of who God is, what Jesus has done. This was great. This was a great book. This was actually the second book I read in the month. With this book as well, I would give it a 4 out of 5. It was just very quick, easy to read, very simple. It was the truth, but it was just it was in such a easy way to understand and read. And just a good reminder, and I would recommend to other people. So yeah, I have a 4 out of 5. The third book I read was called Fervent by Priscilla Shires. I loved this book. So I think I've said it before, but with some audiobooks, the tone of the author's voice is quite like flat, which is fine, they're just reading it. But I really enjoyed this book because she just had like tone, like sometimes she'd speak up and sometimes she'd speak down. And I don't know, the pace she spoke at, I just really, really enjoyed. And this was on Spotify, shout out to Spotify. It was a book that I hadn't heard of before, like no one had recommended it online or in person. And I just thought, yeah, prayer, let's learn a bit more about it. Wow. It made me realise like all the areas in my life where I don't necessarily pray about and I should be. Why is my nose so itchy? So yeah, that was very interesting. And one thing I loved about the book, at the beginning it'd be chapter 2, whatever the chapter was, and then she'd start by going, if I were your enemy, ... And then she'd say like, you know, if the chapter was on like finances, it would be like, if I were your enemy, I would do everything I can to ... I just loved that opening sentence. I just, straight away I was hooked. Loved it. And then another thing I really liked about it was that it reminded you of the enemy's strategies, like always trying to remind you of the past. Sometimes you'll just sit on there happy as a sound boy and then you start thinking of past mistakes you've made. That's not benefiting your life in any way, shape or form. As long as you've like apologised, repented, changed, you're not making the same mistakes. Dwelling on those thoughts are not helping you in any way, shape or form. And this book really helped me recognise that, like, oh yeah, every now and then, like, past mistakes and things do pop up and you're like, you just kind of dwell on it because you don't realise that I shouldn't be thinking of this. This isn't helping my life right now. It's actually making me sad. So I'm going to stop. Also, another thing, I think it's quite early on in the book and she's talking about like how the enemy will always be like, God can't or God won't do X, Y, Z. Even though the Bible says that God is not a man that he should lie, like he tells the truth. So how is the enemy trying to tell me what God, who is the truth, is saying is not true? Liar. It's a no from me. So yeah, this book just helped me recognise things and you're like, oh yeah. You know, sometimes you just go through the motions and then someone will say something to you and it just like, it's like opens your eyes. This book really helped. This book just helped me open my eyes and be a bit more like, this thought is a lie. and I will not accept it. Kind of reminded me a bit of Don't Look Back that I read in February. And also, oh, what was the name of that book? Oh, let me get my book journal. Get Out of Your Head. Oh, that book was great. But yeah, all three of those books, I'm loving like a mental renewing of mind kind of book. So maybe I should just do that every month. So far, so good. I think I'd give it a 4. Also, 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed it. Would recommend. Will listen to it again. And I think I'd actually want the physical book so I can like write notes. So yeah. Okay, so another book I read was Paid in Full, an in-depth look at defining moments of Christ's Passion by Rick Renner. Now, I've actually read this book. I think I've read it twice before, and it's one of the best books I've ever read in my entire life. I've said this before, I'll say it again. I will read this book every single year forever, to be honest. I love it. It's literally what it says on the front cover, like an in-depth look, because it starts at like the Last Supper and ends with Jesus's resurrection. But it like breaks down every little bit of the story. It just breaks it down. And Rick Renner, he understands Greek, which the New Testament was originally written in. So he talks about the different words that are used, that in the English language it's quite simple, but then he like really goes into depth of what each word means. Loved it. Really eye-opening and very like educational, which I really like. One thing I really loved about this book as well, again, I have read it before, but I loved that it just, as it breaks it down, it talks about different people. So like Judas, Herod, the guards, Jesus on the cross. Yeah, it just makes everything more like, it's almost like as you're reading it, it's almost like you're there, like you can really imagine everything. It was like a story and makes you realise everything. And even like, like the beatings, and it tells you about like the different weapons that they'd use back in those days in Rome, what the Romans would use, and like how I feel like it's like a bit of leather, there'd be like little bits of glass and metal, and then they'd like whip you with it, and then they'd like, oh my gosh, like the glass and the metal bits would be like stuck into your flesh, and then when they'd pull it out, they'd pull the flesh. Jesus did that. And then it even talks about like the crucifixion, like when the nail would go through your hands and your feet, and how you'd have lost so much blood that like literally your lungs would be filling up with blood. You're basically hyperventilating. It's just, yeah, like as I was reading it, it makes you like cringe a bit, because you're like, I can't even comprehend this pain, and Jesus did that for me and for you. So praise God for Jesus. And this for me is and always will be a 5 out of 5. 5-star read, love it. 5-star read all the way. Would recommend this to absolutely everyone, whether you're a Christian or not. You need to read this book. It's just amazing. I love it. It's such a quick, easy read as well. And then at the end of every chapter, it will have like some questions. So like think about it, and it will like kind of summarize the chapter and then ask you questions. And yeah, even this bit, love this. This literal page was on my vision board a couple of years ago. I'm gonna give you a little read. When you are fearless, your opposition fears you, because you're not subject to your enemy's influence or control. Are you surrounded and under attack in the season of your life? What is your focus when you're being opposed? The one you fear is the one who controls you. Do you walk in the fear of God, living each day in reverent awareness of his holy claim on your life? Think about it. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Will forever recommend. Please buy this. The 5th book I read was called Garden City by John Mark Comer. He is the author who wrote one of the best books I've ever read. Another really great book. I read this book last year, and it's called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. Love this book. Oh my gosh, I just love this. I just love this book. So good. Because that book was so good, I then bought his other book, Loveology, another really good book about like relationships, dating, engaged, married, etc. But yeah, the 5th book I listened to was Garden City, and I would say that this book gave me clarity. As it was an audio book, I loved the tone and the pace, again, similar to Priscilla Shire's book. It just was very engaging. I just really enjoyed, it was just great. It was like a podcast. It's almost like he's talking directly to you. Loved it. And it reminded me that we all have a purpose. And it talks about, the whole book, it starts talking about like Adam and Eve. And in the beginning, you know, God said, be fruitful, multiply, subdue the earth. And then it just reminds you how we should also be doing that. Like, we all have a purpose. No one's here by mistake. It made me think about work as well, because it talks about work and how even in the beginning, in the Garden of Eden, Adam and Eve had work to do, garden, you know? And often, like, the world nowadays is like, oh, you know, you can't wait for a holiday, and there's nothing wrong with holiday, we all love a holiday. But it just makes you realise how, biblically, as Christians, how you should be thinking about work, and it shouldn't be such a, like, a burden, or, oh, we should be excited to work. Yeah, it just helped me open my eyes, like, and think more what God says about work compared to what the world says about work. You know? Also, what I liked about this book is it made me think about, like, how all of our jobs should, like, help us as people and help the world become a better place. That's similar to, what book was it? In Search of Timothy. It was very much like, it's not all about you. You know, we're meant to be here helping the rest of the world. So I really liked that. Another thing I've just remembered, there was like a quote in the book, obviously, when he says, like, when you get to heaven, they're not going to be like, oh, why weren't you more like Eve? Or why weren't you more like Mary? Or why weren't you more like Esther or Paul? Or they're probably going to be like, why weren't you more yourself? Because I think nowadays, and I feel like I've definitely spoke about this, I did it in a video years ago, but often we just care about other people's opinions, when in reality, like, we need to be living our lives. Not for us, but, like, we've all got a purpose, and we all need to be running our races, and that, like, fear of other people's opinions often hinders you from doing what you need to be doing. So yeah, the book really helped me realise that as well. I would definitely buy this book physically, because again, sometimes, I don't know, there's something about a physical book that it's just different, isn't it? It's just better. So yeah, I think I'd definitely buy this physical book as well. And then finally, one thing I loved about this book, and it's kind of in all of, I don't know if it was in Loveology, but it's definitely in The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. He talks about rest and the importance of rest. And when he says rest, it's not like being lazy and watching Netflix all day. God rested. This is something I usually forget. Like, God made the world. Day 7, he rested. Everything was good, and he took a little rest. And often we need a rest too. So yeah, it just made me think of that. Like, it is important to slow down. I know we live in, like, this fast-paced, you know, let's get going, but it is good to take some time and rest. And I've said this in a video before, and it was after I read The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry, but it is good to slow down. So, like, when I go for a walk at lunch, before I would, like, watch something on YouTube, like, listen to it, and I'd put the speed on, like, +2, because I'd be like, we need to get through this quick. But after I read that book, I thought, do you know what, I'm on my lunch break, I'm here to enjoy myself, do you know what I mean? I just want to be me. So now I listen to it at the normal volume, the normal speed. I'm taking a break, I'm calming down from working or doing whatever I've been doing. So yeah, I love John Mark Comer's books. I would give this book, I think I would actually give it a 5-star, you know, because I would listen to this again. I would recommend this again. And I got so much from it. It was like a nice audiobook, a nice read. Really liked it, loved it. And I feel like at the end of the year, this is a book that I'll remember and be like, oh my gosh, I really enjoyed that book. So I think that's a good way to gauge if it's a 4 or 5-star. Am I still thinking about it months, years later? Yes, I will be. The final book we're going to be talking about in today's video. This was actually the first book I read of March. And after reading this book, I read this little one. I thought, I need a break from fiction, first of all. I need some truth and some love and life in my soul. And I thought, I just need, like, a quick little book, and this book provided. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, this 100% is the weirdest book I've ever read in my entire life. Listen, when I saw this book, because oh my gosh, I bought this book in the vlog where I went to the bookshop, etc. So when I saw this book, I thought it would be like a fairy tale. I thought it'd be really cute. I've always kind of imagined it to be like 2 princesses who are sisters, these two, and the green girl gets jealous of the other girl, and that's kind of, I thought that was the story. If you've seen Once Upon a Time, it's like this TV series. I love it. It's so cute. And the Wicked Witch is in it. And I thought it was that. Like, she's born normal and she turns green because she's jealous. No. No. This book was just bizarre. It was just odd. From the beginning, there was a lot to it. And I forgot that The Wizard of Oz, I forget how odd The Wizard of Oz is, because I don't know, I've not watched the film in years, but you just think of like little Dorothy the human, then you think of the lion, the Tin Man, and who's the other one, the Scarecrow. But I don't know, I've never really thought even of them as like not human. I mean, there was obviously humans dressed up in the film, so I just didn't really think anything of it. Then I read this. Now there's a lot of like politics, religion in here, and I'm a Christian, so some of it I was like, This is bizarre. This is just, I just don't even get it. I started the book and thought, there's a lot going on here, but we're just going to roll with it. Then the baby's born. I'm going to tell you how weird this book is. The baby is born green. I thought that the baby was meant to be normal, and then she turns green because she's jealous. Cool, whatever. Started the book. I'm here at this point. We're just going to carry on. And then the woman who helps the mum give birth, I don't know, I think the baby starts crying. So this is back in the day. She hasn't got a dummy. So I'm pretty sure the nurse like puts her finger in the baby's mouth to like soothe her. The baby bites the woman's finger off. The fresh out the womb, newborn baby. The finger's off. The finger's gone. I was reading it like, what is this? It was just very odd. It was weird before then, and then that happened. I thought, what is going on here? It was rogue. Also, one of the work gals, she'd read this book before, and she warned me about the tiger scene. So when I got to that page, I literally skipped. I thought, is this it? Sorry, I thought I'm skimming this. I skipped the whole thing. I thought, what is going on in this author's head? Why would that even enter your head? It's not right. It's not normal. Sound bizarre. Bizarre behaviour there. It's the fact that the thought entered your head and you had the confidence to write it down, send it to an editor. Weird. I've not actually seen Wicked in the theatre, and after reading this book, I'm not sure I want to. But everyone's like, no, the theatre show's really good, so maybe I will. I don't know. Weird book. I'll tell you that. There were some funny bits. Like, there were a couple of bits I did literally laugh out loud. It was just very random bits where you're just like as in the actual script itself, you're like, right. So I'd laugh. But yeah, it was a bizarre book. Yeah. I mean, I thought that this was a prequel as well, which it is, but I assumed that the book would end before we met Dorothy, like properly. No. I mean, the book's been out years, so I don't really feel like I'm spoiling anything. But like the book ends with basically the end of The Wizard of Oz. I thought this is meant to be a prequel. This is meant to be a fairy tale, and it's not. It's not giving fairy tale vibes. So yeah, would I recommend this book? No. Would I read this book again? No. Do I regret buying this book? Yes. I really wish that I just rented it from took it out of the library, read it, and then returned it. Fuming. I think I need to join my library now so that I don't make this mistake again. I'm still not 100% sure why she's green. I mean, I think I do, but it just doesn't. Does it explicitly say it? I don't think it does. Yeah, I don't know. It was just a bit odd, to be honest. What would I give this out of 5? I think I'd give it a 2. 2 stars. I did finish it. Because I was a bit like, I need to know what happens, but I wouldn't read again. And it did take me like half the month to read this book because it was a lot. That book was, it was a book, is what I'd say. It was a book that I read that I wouldn't read again. Anyway, hope you guys have enjoyed that. I read 6 books in March, and yeah, quite a mixture of different themes. Well, most of them are Christian and then one rogue book. But yeah, anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Hopefully I'll see you in my next one. And also, if you've got any books you'd recommend, please let me know in the comments, because I love a good book, May. I mean, I do have quite a lot I need to get through, but let's just add more to the load. Go on.